What is going on, everybody? Eddy here for a lunch break. I missed everybody this week. Of course, my man John Finkel is out. I think skiing the slopes somewhere. He's having a good time. He's having the life of dad time with his family. He'll be back next week, but I've got a special guest right here. Guinness Brewery Ambassador Ryan Wagner. Of course, it's St. Patrick's Day on Sunday, so we got to bring this guy on, talk a little bit about, man. Who doesn't like a good Guinness? Not just for St. Patrick's Day, but all around. So if you have any questions, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you have any cool St. Patrick's Day questions or beer questions, pairings, whatever the case may be. My man Ryan's going to hook us up with some awesome answers. And plus, Guinness was kind enough to give me some free shirts that we'll be giving away as well. The ones I'm wearing, we got some other ones as well too. So details on how you can win some shirts coming up. But Ryan, thanks for taking the time to chat, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what do you do over at Guinness? Because I think everybody watching right now is like, you must have a dream job. So talk a little about what you do, man.
Yeah, there's no question about it that it's a dream job. I get to come to work at a brewery that was built 10 minutes from where I grew up. The fact that Guinness decided to build this brewery in Baltimore, Maryland, the place where I was born, the place where I spent most of my life, it just means the world to me. I come in, I handle training. I was training our entire staff here, something that I'm very passionate about, something that I was very lucky to be able to do. I handle beer quality for us as well, making sure that what our brewers create and what they work on gets to the customers in the way that they intend. And then also just, spreading the gospel is the way that I say it. Guinness is 260 years old this year. Brewery where I'm sitting right now is a brand new American chapter. So for me, it's just all about getting out there and making sure people understand what Guinness is, what we're about, and why people feel so passionately about us.
Nice, man. Love that. And so the beer testing and all that, of course, there's the Guinness, traditional Guinness, but you guys come out with different variants and all that. What is your go-to right now? Or is it almost sacrilegious to say, like, what's your go-to other than the traditional Guinness, man? Yeah,
I don't have kids, but if I did, I imagine I wouldn't feel nearly as passionately about them as I do this beer. So to say, like, which is my favorite, which is my go-to, Guinness Draft is probably my desert island beer. It's a beer that often, if people ask me what my favorite beer is, I often forget about it because it almost doesn't feel like it's a part of that conversation. Sure. Growing up here in Baltimore, Cal Ripken Jr. was obviously a god when we were kids. And if somebody asked me who my favorite player was, I would always say Mike Devereaux. And they said, well, why not Cal? I'm like, well, he's not even part of this conversation. And that's kind of how I feel about Guinness Draft. But what our brewers are creating downstairs in our 10-barrel, man, they made a North German Pilsner a couple weeks ago that was absolutely beautiful. Right now, we have a stout on for St. Patrick's Day for this weekend. It's a rye stout, so it's got a really earthy, peppery character as well. So I dig pretty much everything these guys put out. I tell you what, the other thing we're experimenting with right now, I'm just fascinated by, and it's a testament to the talent of our brewers. They're playing around a lot with low alcohol, low gravity beers. So we have an IPA on right now that we call 2.7 IPA because it's 2.7% alcohol. And I don't know how they did it. I don't know how Holly and Todd and all these guys were able to put so much aroma and so much character into a beer that's that low in alcohol. But that's an absolutely fantastic beer. And if you work in the beer industry, in doing quality checks, I tend to have a few beers a day. I try to always do that responsibly, as I hope everyone will this weekend, especially. But those low gravity beers certainly come in handy for that reason as well.
Nice. And that's another thing too, like, especially if you're going to be having some corned beef and cabbage, right? Like, you got to make sure that you're not going to fill up on beer, even though it's going to be good beer. You want to make sure that you're kind of, like you said, drinking responsibly and having a good time. Talk a little bit about, like, with the different beers that you guys have over at Guinness, like, what's a good pairing for, you got the corned beef and cabbage, but what are some other, Irish foods that, like, go well with each beer, man?
Well, I mean, you can talk a lot about fish and chips. If you have a beer like Guinness Blonde, our flagship here, kind of the crisp, bright, hoppy character of that beer is always going to hold on one second. You can come in. I'm just doing an interview. You're good. Sorry, guys. Preparation's well underway for the weekend. But yeah, so I mean, if you've got a beer like Guinness Blonde, that hoppy character, it's very bright, it's very carbonated. That's going to help kind of wash away the saltiness of something like a fish and chips. We do that a lot with oysters, especially mid-Atlantic oysters. And then, looking at something like a really rich Guinness stew, if you have something that's beef and barley or beef and vegetable stew, especially this time of year, something like Guinness Draft or even Extra Stout. I think Extra Stout's a beer that people often forget about. That's a beer that dates back to 1821 for us. It's only available in the bottle. Bright, and it's complex, and it's got a huge roasted backbone to that beer. So any kind of roasted meat, that's a great cookout beer for people who say they don't drink stout in summertime. I got news for you. It's a great beer for those cookouts. So I like also what we do here. We kind of play around with a lot of different types of cuisine. Guinness is served around the world, right? So you've got 180 countries the Guinness draft, or excuse me, serve Guinness beer, most of them are serving foreign extra stout. So for me, I like to introduce people to a curry chicken salad with something like foreign extra stout, something like a spicy Korean dish with a very rich and complex stout to kind of cut some of that spice. So there's a lot of different things you can do with beer. I often say that beer pairs better with food than was. I get a few amateur sommeliers coming after me for that statement, but I think beer is an absolute wonderful pairing for food.
No doubt, man. Kelly, a longtime viewer of the show, he's always asking, is it mandatory for all beer ambassadors to have an awesome beard? Is that the case?
You know what? No, I'm going to say no. And the reason I say that is because our head brewer here, Holly Stevenson, I think would come up here and kick my butt if I said that you had to have a beard to be an expert on beer. Holly is one of the sharpest people I know. She's an absolutely phenomenal brewer. And so I think, no, absolutely not. You don't have to have a beard. I do because you don't want to see what's under here, man. You know, we spent a lot of money on this brewery. This best they could do for a face. So I'm going to cover it up as much as I can.
Well done, sir. Love that. We got Preston kind of weighing in. They won't be drinking too much beer tomorrow. Having to take care of a toddler hungover would be awful. Yeah. So, but again, those light beers, like the light IPAs you were saying, low gravity, those are the things that you could probably drink one or two and just enjoy. Taryn says, yeah, you'll have to wait until they're a little bit older. That's true. I got my kids are a little bit older, so I don't have to worry about getting up so early. For you, like, what's going on? Because, you know, with the new brewery over where you're at now, talk a little bit about what you guys are going to be doing for St. Patrick's Day, because I'm guessing there's going to be some cool stuff happening. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to say to Terrence or whoever it was that mentioned having a toddler, man, don't be afraid to be a designated driver tomorrow. I can't overemphasize how important that is. You know, we celebrate that here. If somebody comes in, we're going to give them a free voucher for food. We want to make sure we take care of our designated drivers. That's super important. But yeah, so for St. Patrick's Day today, that's awesome. By the way, I just want to say, like, yeah, free voucher of food. That's fantastic. So yeah, anybody listening, going in to the Maryland area, make sure if you're the designated driver, let them know, and they're going to get a meal on this. That's awesome. Sorry. Yeah, no, we take responsibility very seriously. We're pairing with Lyft as well for the weekend. Yes. What's cool about our partnership with Lyft, if you take a Lyft down to the brewery and you show us the receipt, Lyft is going to give you a $20 voucher for your ride home. So they're basically taking care of one side of your trip. But yeah, so this week has kind of been no holds barred. We just kind of opened it up like we normally do, and we've had a bunch of people through. We tailored the beer menu, so people are going to get some of the historic beers from Ireland that we don't serve the rest of the year. So beers like Harp, Smithwick's, Kilkenny. So some of those, what we call the legacy beers for us. So they're going to be on tap. We're working with a couple of fan favorites, bringing back a beer like Rye Stout. We also brewed a stout earlier this year with black currants in it, which was a big popular beer. It's kind of a throwback to what people do in Ireland often. If they want to take away some of that roasted character, they'll add a black currant syrup. So we added fresh black currants and came up with a almost like a tart stout, which sounds a little bizarre until you try it. And it's this lovely purple color as well. And then in terms of the events for tomorrow and Sunday, those are our two big days, the holiday, obviously on Sunday. We broke it up. We wanted to do ticketed sessions for a couple of reasons. First of all, we wanted to control the number of people that were coming in, make sure that it wasn't too overcrowded for those that were here. So we're doing two sessions from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on both days. And for $15, that's the price of the ticket. You get in, you get your first beer, you get a commemorative button. And what I'm most proud of, we're taking $5 sold from every ticket sold and donating it to 3 charities here locally: the Maryland Food Bank, the Baltimore Office of Promotion and Arts, and the Oyster Recovery Partnership. So kind of giving back to the community, just like Guinness has done their entire existence. But to do it here in Baltimore, again, means a lot to me. So if people are interested, if you're in the area and you want to swing by the brewery, it's GuinnessBreweryBaltimore.com. Tickets are still on sale. They're $20 at the door, so you can save $5 if you get them online. But lots of tickets still available. We have room for an awful lot of people inside this space. So live music all weekend. Oh, and the other thing, we're doing a can release this weekend as well. So if you're here Saturday or Sunday, you'll get first crack at buying our Rye Stout in cans. And also we have a beautiful Northwest-inspired red IPA that's absolutely gorgeous. I love that beer. It's one of our brewers' favorites. It's in cans for the very first time. So anybody that's here for Saturday or Sunday will get first crack at those cans as well. Oh, man, you guys know how to throw a great St. Patrick's Day weekend party. For sure. Love it. Our good buddy from Dad Are Alive, a.k.a. Adrian, he says, I just want to say it's pretty cool that Guinness released Caliber for those who have stopped drinking or are allergic to alcohol. And the next question followed up, maybe Kelly was asking, Guinness has a non-alcoholic beer. Is that true? It's the Caliber, right? Yeah, it's Caliber with a K. And actually, we have a second one over in Ireland right now. I think that's the only place you can find it, called Pure Brew.
But in that regard, we have some pretty exciting stuff going on here at the brewery. We just put online today and just brewed it a couple days ago. So non-alcoholic beers like Caliber, or really any non-alcoholic, will typically have still a small amount of alcohol in them, 0.5, 0.3%. We brewed downstairs a sparkling hop water. So it's basically for those people that are obsessed with La Croix and all the types of sparkling water, which I am. I'm obsessed with sparkling water. This is basically a carbonated water that we dosed with Cascade hops. So it's not a low alc, it is a 0 alc. There is absolutely not a trace of alcohol in it. And it's pretty cool. You can get a pint of it for $2 because it's a brand new thing for us. We just want to get some feedback on it and see what people think. So we're pretty excited about that too, to see the reaction.
That's great. Talk a little bit about, like, you know, kind of going along the lines with that. How do you guys create, like, the ideas? Is it, you know, kind of over in Ireland, or do you guys kind of, especially now at the brewery over there, do you guys kind of think of ideas, and how do you guys create new variants or new you know, lines through Guinness? Because I think what you guys doing right there with what you said earlier about the non-alcoholic stuff is pretty cool. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, we're always going to be inspired by our heritage, right? We're not going to turn our backs on that. I often joke that there's a 40-foot harp on the front of our building. I don't think too many people are going to get us confused with anything else. So we want to honor that heritage. We want to learn from the past for sure. There's a lot of history and a lot of brewing journals that date back to the 18th century in some cases. So there's a lot for our brewers to pull from. That being said, what we know to be true about the American craft beer industry is that creativity is at the heart of it, right? You have to be innovative. You have to be willing to push the boundaries in terms of style and ABV and ingredients and brewing techniques. And so our brewers here are all American craft brewers, and that's where we pulled them from. Some of their credentials speak for themselves. These guys have resumes that are far better than mine. But I mean, these guys have worked at places like Stone, worked at places like, in Holly's case, she was at Highland Brewing in Asheville, North Carolina. A few local breweries here to the Maryland, DC area, like DC Brow, Monocacy Brewing. Sean came from Jolly Pumpkin in Michigan, one of the best barrel-aged breweries in the country. So these guys have incredible credentials, and I think that the folks at Guinness were smart enough to know that if you're going to hire that kind of talent, you don't want to bring them in and say, okay, here's the list of beers we want you to make. They were given carte blanche. They have carte blanche to do whatever they think is in the best interest of our brand and whatever's in the best interest of our consumers, of the people that want to come in and experience what Guinness has to offer. So we're going to let them run wild. And so far it's worked because some of the beers that they've made are absolutely incredible.
Nice. And so talk a little, I'm just curious too, because one of my friends went to when they went to Dublin, there was, they took the tour, but they said there was also like, kind of like, I don't know if like secret passages, but there were some certain like keywords you say. Is that a myth or is that true?
You know what? I'm not going to stomp on anybody's dreams here. I don't know. You know, you might be able to go find somebody and talk to them and say a magic word or something. I love Dublin. If there are folks out there that have never been to our brewery in Dublin or been to the Storehouse, which is our, sort of the visitor experience over there, it's the best museum experience in the world. I mean, it was voted the best tourist attraction in Europe a couple of years ago. This place is unbelievable. But one thing I will say about what we do here in Baltimore, I coined a phrase a couple of months ago that everybody's kind of picked up on. Dublin is a museum that happens to have a bar in it, and we're a bar that happens to have a museum in it. So it's two very different ends of the same spectrum. We're going to give you a lot of history. We're going to give you a lot of the story of Guinness and also the story of this site, which has an incredible history here in Baltimore. But we also want you to get up close and personal with our brewers, with the way that we brew, and with the beers themselves. So it's a little bit different than what you see in Dublin, which is just such a rich, rich history tour.
Nice. So yeah, that was a great answer, by the way. So well done, man. That's a good ambassador right there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Quickly too, again, I want to say thanks to Guinness for hooking up with some of these shirts, and one that I'm wearing right here. And then there's also the white version as well. We got larges and extra larges. You want to talk a little bit about the design here?
I was going to say, do you know the story of those?
I would love for you to talk about that, sir.
So
and quickly, while you're doing the story, if anybody wants to win some shirts, just email me, art@lifeofdad.com, art@lifeofdad.com, either large or extra large. We'll be giving some away. I'll choose people at random. There we go. Choose people at random, and you'll get a shirt. But again, thanks for that. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't even have that shirt, by the way. I'm stoked that you have these. So what they did for these, and I think it's so cool. They had an artist take impressions from different things around St. James's Gate, the brewery in Dublin. So like the harp one that you're wearing, That's a harp from a piece of brewing equipment in Brewhouse 2, which is our Victorian era brew house. And then they turned that imprint into a t-shirt. Like that right there is a piece of Dublin and Guinness history. And those shirts are fascinating, man. It's so cool. I think there's another one that's an imprint of the bricks outside the brewery on the cobblestone. Like,
you there? Did we lose him? Hopefully we didn't lose him. I think he's still there, right? You there, Ryan? No. All right. Well, we're kind of getting him unstuck. Let me see what we can do here. Let's see if we can bring him back. Again, email me art@lifeofdad.com, and we'll see if you guys can win some shirts as well. As you just heard, it's a pretty cool history with the shirt right there and how these shirts were made. He doesn't even have one, and he works for Guinness. So if you want a cool special edition shirt, make sure you bring that up there. Let me see if we can bring him back here. See if he's going to come back on. We'll see. You there? No, he's frozen. All right. What I will try and do is Dad or Alive poses this question. It's a good one. He wants to know, is there anywhere we can get the non-alcoholic sparkling that has the hops injected? Would love to check it out, or is it only on site? I will find that out as well and put it in the comments section below. But I hope you guys, like Ryan said, I hope you guys have a safe, what does he say? Okay, it's only at the brewery, and I think he's back up here. Hold on, let me get out of here. And sweet, hold on. You back?
I'm here.
All right, cool. All right. For some reason you froze, but I appreciate that. So there, you can only get it on site, correct? And he froze again, I think. Oh no, I don't know what happened. But anyways, let's see. What's he saying? I'm still here. All right. Well, I don't want to take any more of his time if we can't get a hold of him. But again, thanks again to Guinness for having Ryan stop on. It was really cool to chat about the history of Guinness, what they got going on at that brewery. Make sure you go check out that the brewery in Maryland. It sounds like it's going to be a great time. And also pick up the non-alcoholic sparkling hop infused variety right now, because it sounds like it's pretty cool. But again, have a safe St. Patrick's Day. We hope you guys enjoy this lunch break. John and I will be back next week on Mondays and Wednesdays, normal time. Obviously Wednesday we had some issues with Facebook and the internet, but we're back right now. But anyways, while you're out on the interwebs, go to lifeofdad.com and check out how you can pre-order the book, Amazon, Books A Million, and Barnes & Noble. Again, thanks for checking out the show. As always, we appreciate it. You guys have a great and safe weekend, and we'll see you next week. Peace.